I mentioned Rey Fenix before. On Saturday, this is last weekend now, Phoenix had responded to a fan on social media who complained that he was not being used on AEW television. And he wrote, "I will have my chance to speak the truth." And then he added, "No one stays in a place where they received inhumane treatment." And then later that same day, Penta made a surprise appearance at AAA's TV tapings. He did a farewell speech. So clearly he is either signed or will be signing somewhere very soon. Wink, wink. Early Monday morning, Phoenix again began making some very cryptic remarks online, alluding to mistreatment by AEW. He said, "I needed a doctor, and you ignored me for months." And then he responded to an update that was provided by Chris Featherstone of Sportskeeda. And to this report, Phoenix said, "So far, this is the most accurate comment." But what Featherstone wrote was, "I received information from an AEW source on November 20th regarding the Lucha Brothers status, but did not report it as I was waiting for one of them to begin speaking their mind about the situation. I was told that was coming. I also was told that day that Penta's contract was soon ending with AEW. Rey Fenix did just do that. He spoke his mind. So here is some intel that I received. The alleged excuse that Tony Khan found out about the Lucha Brothers being in talks with WWE is fake news, and the real reason will be revealed. There is a real story behind the situation with Rey Fenix, which is a huge injustice. Expect the Lucha Brothers to go more in-depth about their time in AEW when they are free and clear to do so, and when they do, it is going to be ugly." And also in response to that post, Phoenix added, "Unfortunately, due to contractual issues, I cannot speak now, but I will have my time." Fightful Select said one source admitted that there have long been communication issues, but had not heard of anything that would be construed as inhumane, and had not spoken to Phoenix about it. They had heard that Phoenix took issue with a doctor who had not cleared him at one point, although context on that was not exactly complete. By Wednesday, Phoenix deleted all of his tweets alleging inhumane treatment and about needing a doctor and being ignored. The only tweet left is the one saying that he will have the chance to speak his truth. Everything else after, which I think was on December 9th, everything else after that is gone. Inhumane treatment is a pretty strong statement, and he's going to have to back that up at some point. He also left it vague enough that it could have technically been referring to something other than AEW, but that would be pretty irresponsible of him to do that, knowing the first thing that people would assume is that he would be referring to AEW and that they would shit all over Tony Khan for it. So if it has to do with something unrelated, then he should have clarified that, and I think he would have clarified that. He didn't, because he's clearly referring to AEW. And that is a major accusation to leave hanging out there. Now, he did delete the tweets. And the question is, did he delete the tweets because somebody got to him and told him take that shit down? Or did he realize that it might come back to bite him? Or that it might even make WWE a little bit nervous to have this man going public with, stuff like this on social media and being a bomb thrower. So he just decided on his own that it would be best to take the tweets down. We don't know. This is my read on this, okay? And that's all this is. This is my read on the situation. I think that what happened here, Phoenix is trying to put pressure on Tony Khan to release him early from his contract. He wants out, and he is desperate, and he is going to do whatever it takes to get out of this fucking contract. Either that, or he is just trying to get fired so that he could join Penta in WWE. This was part of his plan to put pressure on Tony Khan for all of the bad publicity that he would get from this, to try to make this go away as quickly as possible. The problem is, Tony Khan and AEW, they get so much bad publicity and hate every single day that I don't think Tony really cares. I really don't. I think he is numb to it by now. Now, some of the negativity is justified, and there's also a lot of negativity and hate lobbed at him that isn't. But as he has said before, to be AEW is to be constantly under attack. There is a lot of truth to that statement, rightly or wrongly, whether you feel like a lot of that, being under attack is justified or not, that is the truth. So I think Fenix said, fuck it, let's dangle this carrot out there, and it didn't work. Now, if we take what he said at face value, right? I needed a doctor and you ignored me for months. We need more context to this, but just take that statement at face value. That sounds deplorable. Like if this man was injured, and at one point he was out and he had what he called the worst injury, the most painful injury of his career. I think it was a hip injury. If this man was injured and he tried to get help from AEW and it fell on deaf ears, it's just hard for me to picture Tony Khan intentionally ignoring his request for help if he was actively trying to get help for an injury that he had. I know CM Punk in his interview with Ariel Helwani accused AEW of ghosting him after Brawl Out to the point where he had to go out on his own to find a doctor and pay for his tricep surgery because nobody called him, nobody called to check in on him. And when Tony was asked about those allegations, he said that, well, we typically do pay those expenses, and he said that I'll have to look into that. He wasn't sure. You're not sure? How can you not be sure? He was the biggest star in your company. I mean, it's not Lee fucking Moriarty that we're talking about here. If Roman Reigns gets hurt in WWE's ring, if Cody Rhodes gets hurt, if Rhea Ripley gets hurt in their ring, do you think Triple H is not aware of whether or not the company took care of their surgeries? He said he would look into it. I don't know that we ever actually got a follow-up to that, whether or not they did or did not pay for his surgery. Punk says they didn't. So maybe I shouldn't be so surprised if that's what happened here. The difference is Punk, he sat at home. He was waiting for them to call him, and they never did. So he said, well, the hell with this. I'm going to go out and get this taken care of on my own. If Fenix was reaching out or calling people, texting people, and being ignored, and he can prove that, that's a horrible look for Tony Khan. And Fenix would have every right to be upset because if there was a delay in getting him the treatment that he needed to get back in the ring, then it's not right for Tony to add injury time to his deal and extend him for another year, which is what it's believed to be. He may have had as much as a year added onto his deal. Is that what happened here? Or was it a case where Fenix was ready to return and he couldn't get AEW to medically clear him? Maybe he felt that he was ready, AEW didn't, and because of that, he's upset that Tony added all of this time to his deal when he feels like, hey, I should have been allowed back in the ring a lot sooner. It's not my fault. Your guys didn't want to clear me. I kind of feel like it's one or the other that we're looking at here. So which is it? We don't know. And it may be a while before we find out, if we ever find out. I mean, the power of the NDA, we may never find out, but it may be a while before we can find anything out because Fenix isn't talking and Tony Khan doesn't look like he's in any great rush to let this man walk right into WWE, which is really what this is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what this is all about. He added that time because he knows as soon as he's free, he is going to WWE. And it would be one thing if he had plans to use him, but he doesn't. He's got him sitting at home collecting a paycheck to do nothing. Like the WCW guys who had those sweet Turner guaranteed contracts and they opted to collect their guaranteed money rather than go to work for Vince. Except I'm sure whatever Rey Fenix is making, he's not making Hulk Hogan money. He's not making Kevin Nash money. That's one of the big differences.